Several major record labels, including Sony and Universal, are taking aim at AI song generators Suno and Udio in a new lawsuit for copyright infringement, claiming the AI music companies are exploiting artists. For more, let's bring in former Sony music executive and Strat America's managing director, Seth Schachner. Seth, welcome.
Good to be here, Mike.
So, U.S. record labels are suing these AI generators, alleging copyright infringement. How significant is that threat?
The infringement aspect, right now, I don't think is, wildly threatening. I think the concern is just longer term for the labels and all the rights holders about setting the right precedents legally so they can grow and seed, AI music as a business right now. So I think they're trying to get out in front of this new AI wave in a way that will help legitimize it just for artists and for labels and presumably other platforms as well. But it is serious to see this type of potentially infringing activity at an early stage, yeah.
You argue this is part of a larger strategy by the major labels. How so?
Yeah, well, this is, it's an interesting time for the record labels and the publishers. It's not what I would call a Napster moment where there's massive amounts of piracy. There are tons of these tools in the market right now that can empower everyone from artists to their own platforms to just go off and do things on their own and bypass a lot of the other traditional gatekeepers. So, this new AI wave basically presents a threat if it's not managed. So it is pretty critical if you hold artists and you hold contracts and rights to try and figure out a way to cooperatively license. And so the real thing here is that these AI models are being trained on content that rights holders own, basically. And the labels want to make sure that the licensing happens around who's training on your own content first and foremost. So that's a big gating point for them right now.
All right. Then there was a hearing this week on Capitol Hill on radio, music, and copyrights. Here is Randy Travis's wife, Mary. Let's play it.
Of all the things that we do differently than we did a century ago, one thing remains the same, and that is that the voice is still the mandatory bridge between the writer and the listener. And it's time to do right by the ones that created that sound, that melody, that emotion that keeps the listeners coming back and the advertisers buying into radio.
What about the major shift in the music business and the need to protect those artists?
It's probably the biggest thing. The labels are actually trying to do that, to proactively help not only their own music but their artists, and they're also trying to protect their rights as well. So, and they're trying to do it in a constructive way. So I think some of the newest things that are in the market, Universal, for example, has given their artists a lot of leeway to test these AI technologies just on their own and not trying to gate it. So I think that piece of it is, really incredibly important, basically. And I think the labels need to do this in a cooperative way and not just go off and sue some of these platforms like you're hearing in the news today. But I think it's probably important for them to set precedents, not just for their own rights, but for artists and songwriters as well. So that's a really big piece of it.
I should note that Randy Travis suffered a stroke in 2013, which has impacted his ability to speak, but his star power on Capitol Hill certainly got a lot of attention. Seth Schachner, thank you so much for your time and your analysis today.
Great to be here.